Hey everyone, thanks so much for checking out this video. I know that a lot of you have been wanting and asking questions about the Pocket 6K from Blackmagic and the 4K and what that looks like in a broadcast scenario, so let's talk about that. Alright, but first, make sure you smash that subscribe button, hit the thumbs up. If you're here because of the thumbnail, comment down below, let me know why that thumbnail dragged you in. I'm really curious to know about that. Also, thank you just for commenting and subscribing. Make sure you check out the podcast, Technical Arts with Justin Edmonds. A lot of that is the same as this video here, but a lot of it is also, I try and do about once a month, a long form conversation piece with someone in the industry. So I been getting these questions sent to me and asking me about the Pocket cameras from Blackmagic and what they look like in a broadcast scenario. I will say that when I originally took some of the content pictures that I'm going to show you here in a second, the new studio camera hadn't come out yet, and I would say that there's a bunch of different options here that Blackmagic offers now that I think are legitimate options. So I think for the most part, most people are asking me because they already have one of these Pocket cameras and they are trying to not buy another camera. And so they want to know what their Pocket camera is going to look like inside of a broadcast scenario inside like their church or their small business. I think that it works great. It's got an HDMI port on the side of it. Both of them do. They only output 1080p, which in a live streaming scenario, that's not the end of the world. You can still record in your 4 or 6K depending on which camera you have. And I love the sensor. I think the sensor looks great. So I think that the biggest qualms I have, I think that's the correct word, about the Pocket camera versus like say the studio camera that has the hand controls would be literally that. You have to reach up, you have to focus, you have to zoom in, all those kind of things. Is that the end of the world? No, I don't think it's the absolute end of the world. That's really honestly the only real major problem I have. There are some other problems that I have that I think probably aren't for the most of you probably aren't going to deal with. Is the screen is kind of small. You could add an external monitor if you already own the camera. When you start getting into that 150-200 millimeter range, it's hard to focus that lens with the small screen, from my experience. So I did did some testing and went out and did some testing of like distances at different millimeters. So I think I'd like to go through that right now. So at this point, you've kind of gotten my opinion on it, and let's just show you some of these things. So this is the 70 millimeter lens at about 20 feet away, and it's really good. It's really close to being able to get like that belt buckle up, like award show shot at 70 feet. And I think that that's pretty much where most of us are going to land. And I think that like for my church, we're probably 15-ish feet away, so we're a little bit closer than this. But I would say that the majority of churches that I work with are in that between 20 and 40 foot away range. And then there are a few outliers that are in that 60 to 70 range. So then if we move on to 70 at 30 feet away, that is a little bit further out. We're getting kind of like the knees up. If we gave a little less headroom, we're probably shins. So, the 70 millimeters are probably pretty difficult, to use once you get past 20 feet. 70 millimeter at 40 feet, I mean, you're getting full head to toe shot with extra headroom. And then it gets, just even worse from there. At 50 feet, you're getting significant foot room, significant headroom. And then 70 at 60 feet is, even worse. This is more like photographic style rather than video. And then when you get all the way up to 70 feet, 70 millimeter is probably not bad for like a wider band shot, but not something I would use for a close-up. If we jump up to 100 millimeters at 20 feet, this is like that real, like legitimate, like belt buckle shot. Like it's cutting off at my waist and then going up, so it's like a really clear picture of my face. It's a lot more like this shot right here. So if you're trying to be really intentional and like have that pastor like be able to talk to the crowd, like person on the other side of the camera, this would be it. At the 30-foot range for 100mm, that's not bad. This would be like if I had two shots next to each other, this is the layout that I'd want to look, the first one and this one. So being at 100mm at 30 feet away, we're probably going to want a deeper, like a longer lens. And then same thing's going to happen here is we start being 100mm at 40 feet away. We're, knees up with headroom. At 50 feet, we're head to toe. Not as much room as when we were at 70, but still full head to toe shot there. And then at 60 feet, we've got space on top and bottom. And then at 70 feet, we have significant space on top and bottom. So if you look at this 100mm at 70 feet, this is what I was saying is that I was starting to have real problems focusing on him with just the built-in display. And if you look at his face, and I'll try to zoom in here for you a second, he's blurry. And that was really difficult on these pocket cameras because there's not really any autofocus setups. But if we jump into 200mm and we are at 20 feet here, this is like a close-up. Like this is like shoulders up. Not something that I would ever really prefer to use or see. That's too close, too hard to follow, all those kind of things. 200mm at 300 feet. This is still a little close for me. I would say that I would not hate this. This would probably be a good shot if I'm watching Pastor read. So like if he's pulling out his Bible and he's like reading like a long chunk of scripture, I don't have a problem with this because it makes it feel a little bit more intimate because we're closer. So like that's pretty good. And then at 200mm from 40 feet, this is, that like we're 40 feet away, we're 200mm, and again, like if you look at his face, he's a little blurry. Being at 200mm was really hard to focus on this little display. And if you're in the live environment, that'll be really difficult. But this would give you your belt buckle shot, which I like that shot the majority of the time. 200mm at 50 feet, it's kind of giving you a little bit more, but not by a ton. At 60 feet is when we're starting to get thighs to top of head, and then at 70 feet, your knees to top of head. But all of these 200mm shots are all decently blurry. So I'm gonna say that seems how most of us are sitting in that 40-foot range. I think on average, I think that in my opinion, if I look through here, I don't mind this. This 100mm 40 feet. I think that's pretty good. I like that. I think if you can focus well, that and you're on that zoom lens, like this was a 70 to 200mm, so you have some space. So I could have done 150, and I probably should have for this test. I think 150 probably would be on the edge. I think we could get a clear crystal shot. I was outside and I wasn't using focus assist that Blackmagic offers, and the display was a little washed out. So there's some levels of like why I had these issues. But yeah, I think that this is super great. I'm gonna dump all of this onto my business's website. I'm gonna try and do like a little blog about this with all these images. So I'm emtmi.com. So check that out. I'll put the link in the description, and then I'll put a blog up with this so you can see all the pictures and see what all exactly it looks like. I probably won't do too much writing on it, but it'll probably just be like a, hey, here's the pictures so you can check it out. So yeah, let me know what you thought about this. Are you guys using the Blackmagic pocket cameras for broadcast? Again, I think that now with the studio cameras update, I think that they're way more worth it unless you already own the cameras and you can't afford to buy a second set. I think that there's a lot going on with Blackmagic. The 12K price drop is a pretty big deal, and I'm really excited to see what's coming out. I'm gonna start looking into some of their what people are saying that they're gonna come out with and why they dropped it. But yeah, I would say that these are great cameras, and not my first choice for broadcast, but I think you could definitely do it for sure. Thanks so much, guys. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a comment down below. Thanks so much. Yeah.